Welcome to the Explainer. So what happens when the biggest names in tech just get tired of playing it safe? I mean, forget those tiny little upgrades. We are talking about massive, risky bets that could totally reshape the devices we use every single day.
You know how it's been for years, right? A new phone comes out and it's got a slightly better camera, a slightly faster chip, maybe a slightly brighter screen. It was all so predictable, so safe. Well, it really looks like that whole era is finally coming to an end.
And that's really the big question we're diving into today. We're going to break down some of the boldest new products and strategies we've seen in a long time. We're talking about everything from devices that literally change shape in your hands, all the way to business moves that can rewrite global supply chains pretty much overnight.
All right, let's get right into it. First up, hardware that bends and folds. We are definitely moving way beyond those static glass slabs we're all used to and into something much more dynamic.
So first up is the Lenovo Legion Go Fold. This thing was just unveiled at Mobile World Congress 2026, and it is an absolute beast. Picture this. It starts out as a handheld gaming console with a 7.7-inch screen, but then it unfolds into this huge 11.6-inch display. So it's a console, but it's also a tablet. And hey, slap a keyboard on it, and now it's a mini laptop. It is really trying to be everything all at once.
And this is where you can really see just how ambitious they're being. I mean, just look at these specs. We're talking 32 gigs of RAM. That is double the memory of something like the Steam Deck. So you take that kind of raw power, you combine it with a foldable OLED screen, and yeah, this isn't just some small upgrade. This is them trying to create a whole new category of device.
But, being this bold comes with some major hurdles. For one, durability. Can a folding screen really survive the bumps and drops of on-the-go gaming? Then there's the price. We're hearing predictions of anywhere from $1,200 to $1,500. That could be double its main competitors. And maybe the biggest question of all, are game developers even going to bother optimizing their games for this new shape?
Okay, so that's gaming. Now let's see how this whole folding trend is playing out in the world of phones. Motorola, the company that basically pioneered flip phones, is now jumping into the book-style foldable game. And they're not just making another one, they are laser-focused on solving the single biggest problem that's been bugging these devices since day one. And their solution? Well, it all comes down to this one huge number, 6,000 milliamp hours. Now, I know, that might just sound like another tech spec, but trust me, in the world of super thin foldable phones where every single millimeter matters, that number is absolutely gigantic. This is, by a long shot, the biggest battery ever put into a major foldable. Just to put that into perspective for you, its biggest rival, the Galaxy Z Fold 6, has a 4,400 milliamp hour battery. So do the math. That gives Motorola a 30 to 40% longer life. We're not talking about a small bump here. For anyone who actually, uses their phone all day, this is a promise to pretty much get rid of battery anxiety for good. So Motorola's big bet is all about fixing a major flaw in a whole new form factor. But other companies, they're taking a totally different path. They're sticking with the classic device shape we all know, but they're absolutely supercharging what's on the inside. And we're going to start in the most competitive space you can imagine, smartphones.
Look, let's be honest, a lot of phones have great cameras these days. The market is just crowded. So Xiaomi decided to make a massive bet. They're pouring their resources into one specific area to try and jump ahead of everybody else, and that's professional-grade telephoto power.
And this right here is their secret weapon, 200 megapixels. But wait, here's the key. That massive number isn't for the main camera. Nope, it's for the telephoto lens. The one that lets you zoom in. It is the world's first, and it's all about true lossless optical zoom, not just some cheap digital trick.
I mean, when you compare it to the competition, it's just staggering. The iPhone's telephoto, 12 megapixels. Samsung's, 50. Xiaomi is at 200. And they didn't stop there. They paired it with a huge main sensor and professional Leica APO lenses, which is just a fancy way of saying they're designed to give you incredibly sharp images without weird color distortions. This is basically them shouting from the rooftops, we are going all in on photography.
But while Xiaomi's focused on the camera, Samsung is looking at something completely different. Their big bet has nothing to do with camera hardware. They've pinpointed a really common problem we all face, and they've actually engineered a new technology that changes something fundamental about your screen. Who else can see it?
They're calling it the privacy display. Basically, it's a special layer built right into the screen that shrinks the viewing angle down to just 30 degrees. So what does that mean?
It means for that person sitting next to you on the train or trying to peek over your shoulder in a coffee shop, your screen just looks black. It's a real hardware fix for that whole shoulder surfing problem.
And Samsung isn't stopping there. They're extending this whole idea of the phone as the center to wearables. Check out their new smart glasses. These are not a standalone computer like an Apple Vision Pro. Not at all. Think of them more like an AI gateway for your phone. So you could look at a menu in another language, the glasses just send the picture to your Galaxy, your phone's AI translates it, and then it whispers the translation right back into your earbud. It's simple, it's lightweight, and it's totally powered by your phone.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about hardware, but being bold isn't just about flashy gadgets. Sometimes it's about a huge, high-stakes market strategy. And we have a perfect example of this with Tesla's recent and very sudden pivot up in Canada.
Now, to really get this, you have to look at the chart. For the past couple of years, Canada had this massive 100% tariff on EVs built in China. It basically blocked them from the market. But then, on March 1st, 2026, boom, they slashed that tariff all the way down to just 6.1% for a certain number of cars. And just like that, a massive financial opportunity opened up.
And Tesla's reaction, it was almost instantaneous. As you can see on this timeline, the moment that new program started, they pulled every single one of their US-made Model 3s from their Canadian website. They even physically shipped the cars that were already there back across the border. They were completely clearing the way for cheaper models built in their Shanghai factory.
So what's the bottom line for the Canadian car buyer? It's actually pretty simple. This whole strategic pivot means big-time savings. By switching its supply chain from the US to China just for the Canadian market, Tesla can sell the exact same car for what they estimate is $5,000 to $7,000 cheaper. That's huge.
All right, so we've seen all these massive bets in hardware, in software, and in corporate strategy. Which brings us to the big question, right? Are these moves brilliant, or are they just reckless gambles?
You know, the one thing that connects everything we've talked about today is just boldness. Like this quote says, companies are finally pushing boundaries again. It feels like a total departure from those safe, predictable, and, let's be honest, kind of boring updates we've gotten used to over the past few years.
Think about it. We saw a foldable handheld that's totally rethinking what portable gaming can be. A foldable phone that might have finally solved the battery problem. A truly professional-grade camera that fits in your pocket. A screen that nobody else can see. And a huge corporate pivot that happened in just a matter of days.
Every single one of these is a high-risk, high-reward play. And yeah, some of them are probably going to fail spectacularly. But others, they could end up defining the next decade of tech. In the end, it's the market that's going to decide which of these gambles actually pay off. And that leaves all of us wondering, which one of these wild new visions of the future is about to become our new reality?